Dear President Goldberg, dear members and friends of the Auschwitz Foundation, dear previous speakers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the Auschwitz Foundation for the kind invitation and, of course, above all, for the prize. At the same time, I would like to apologize for speaking neither French nor Dutch. Hence, I will give you a short insight into my dissertation research in English. I grew up in the age of politics of memory. The existence of memorial sites at former concentration camps always seemed natural to me. During my studies, I understood that the majority of memorials of former camps are, however, the result of an enormous effort, a great deal of initiatives and activism, of hard work, and in most cases carried out by former prisoners, their families, and friends. In face of this, I wondered why theories about politics of memory mostly focused on laws, official statements, and political directives. Memory studies, as the field of research is called nowadays, were quite limited to normative approaches which constructed memory as a business of one state, one society, or even one nation. But is a society, is any society, homogeneous enough to speak about one collective memory? And are memory politics indeed limited to state officials and bureaucracy? In my dissertation on the development of the Memorial Auschwitz-Birkenau from 1945 till 1955, I was able to prove the opposite. Memory and representations of history are very much determined by the micro level of everyday life and human interaction. It is hence insufficient for historians to research commemoration and memory by means of political decisions and official documentation. To understand how people in Europe in different places dealt and deal with the history of National Socialist persecution and mass extermination, one has to look at the everyday life of the very place and the sometimes relatively small actions of the very people present at that place. There is two very simple reasons for that. First, what is happening at a memorial site ultimately depends on the people involved on a very basic level, as no state or government is able to control every single step. Second, every representation needs perception. Without an audience, without visitors who come and pay attention to it, any representation of history is pointless. Just to give you three small examples from my research from Poland and the post-war decade concerning the understanding of Auschwitz-Birkenau. An exhibition in one block of the former camp in Auschwitz, full of communist propaganda, had no effect on public opinion when the tour guides simply did not provide the groups there. And a memorial plaque installed by the government was never as visible as a prisoner's cell full of flowers and candles and letters left by individual visitors. Thirdly, the understanding of the term Auschwitz was often much more influenced by readers' letters and discussions in local newspapers and workers' newspapers than by the state declarations. It is the quintessence of my research that direct action by ordinary people, workers, guides, visitors, and neighbors, determine representations of history at memorial sites much more than we thought before. This makes memorials a multi-perspective and almost a democratic space, as everyone can have an impact. It also means that everyone should have an impact and has the responsibility to keep memory alive and counteract tendencies of nationalism, anti-Semitism, and xenophobia. I feel very honored that this cultural and micro-level approach, which seemed quite unusual and against the mainstream when I started to work with it, is now awarded by such a reputable prize. Once again, I would like to express my profound gratitude towards the foundation, and I share the view of President Goldberg that a differentiated discourse is necessary to prevent tendencies of nationalism and xenophobia. And I'm happy that the Hugo Valentin Center at Uppsala University gives me now the chance to contribute to this discourse further and to work with my approaches in the next couple of years. At this point, I would also like to thank all my colleagues and friends who supported me and support my work with constructive criticism, fruitful discussions, and often just with friendship. I'm especially grateful to my family, my parents and sisters, who raised me in the spirit of critical thinking and paying attention to small things, which later might appear much more meaningful than previously assumed. Thank you very much.